stream, hoping for what's true. I'm trawling for honor in this shallow pool. Borealis starlit crown arches over the Puget Sound. Berenice's hair drapes the horizon to Where is my lucky star tonight? The seventh sister of the Pleiades walks in beauty like the night. Oh, that is best, dark and now lost to me. Only trust in the northern star. That's the only point that's fixed. I once believed in love. Even love cannot bridge this rift. Where is my lucky star tonight? The seventh sister of the Pleiades, who walks in a beauty like the night. All that is best, dark and bright. Now lost to me. Now lost to me.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, thank you, John. Like I always say every night, not the best, not the worst, but we are on the radio. We got a great guest tonight, Susan, about her book. And Susan, are you still here?
I'm here, Gary.
So how long did it take you to write this book here?
It took about 2 years because it was coming down in pictures, and they were also communicating to me that it would be better to get the information out as a story because people respond to stories, and this is kind of a retelling of Earth's story through a novel rather than just making it nonfiction and facts. I was told this, I channeled this. I don't even mention in the book that I'm channeling or myself at all because they're just characters who do the talking. And the characters happen to be fifth-dimensional beings. 2 are from the Pleiades. There are 8, really, 4 couples. 2 from the Pleiades, 2 from Venus, 2 from Arcturus, and 2 from the Violet Planet. And they all have different superpowers, and they all agree to incarnate on Earth as infants for the mission from Venus, because a call has gone out across the universe that Earth's in need of love today. And they answered the call.
But why don't they make themselves appear, where they could, appear to the public, appear on TV for somehow, or to the government officials and offer help?
I think that they do. I mean, my understanding is that wanderers from higher dimensions have been coming forever. For example, they told me that Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Tesla, Jesus, Buddha, these are all wanderers. Eleanor Roosevelt was a wanderer. She was a higher wanderer than even her husband. She was his teacher. And FDR was a wanderer. But people don't usually, because wanderers don't know they're wanderers. You could be a wanderer, Gary. You could be from the fifth or the sixth dimension. Anybody who is really loving and knows that we're all connected, and cares about other beings, anybody who says things like, we're all part of the same thing, we're all the same, we're all on this journey to awaken, to become more enlightened, to become more loving, to become more whole. People who talk like that are likely to be one of the 70 million wanderers. But we don't always know we're wanderers, because to incarnate on Earth, we all had to pass through the veil of forgetting, which means we don't remember the future. We remember the past, but we can't remember the future, which already has happened too, because there's no time, really. Physicists tell us that everything is happening at once, but we have to agree to the convention of time, because it would make us crazy. Everything, time's the shock absorber, because it would blow our minds if we didn't have time to spread out events, if suddenly everything was manifest at the same time. So we don't know we're wanderers, if we're wanderers, because we had to come through this veil of forgetting, and we only, we don't remember the future. But I think people, if you ever think, I'm a little different, or I have a little different ideas, or I've always been preoccupied with things extraterrestrial, or with UFOs, or with paranormal things. You may well be a wanderer from a higher dimension, and you agreed to come to Earth to bring your light here and to live as a human, because that's the law. You're not supposed to just fly in a flying saucer and abduct people. But if you incarnate, then you can help. You can bring your light. So the 70 million or so wanderers spread all over the earth. Mother Teresa was a wanderer. Gandhi was a wanderer. Certain inventors are wanderers. And people who talk of connection and love, they may not all be on a mission from Venus like I'm writing about, but because they've all come at different times. But I think it's been going on for a very long time, and now the beings who channel through me say that there are 70 million here trying to raise, maybe Greta Thunberg, who's talking about global warming, is a wanderer moving through periods of time.
It sounds like it could be a possibility. Now, I got to ask you a question about, is there a battle taking place, right now between different dimensional beings on Earth?
I think there is a battle. I think there's an ongoing battle between light and dark. I think light, it's already been established, I think that light will prevail on Earth. But yes, I think the Dark Lords of Orion, the reptilians, the beings from Draco, they wanted to take Earth for theirs, to the dark side, and enslave all beings in service to them, because you progress on the dark side by taking power over others. And of course, the ultimate power to take over another is to take their life. And if they can't bring you to the dark side, then they will take your life. But there are many more light beings who, and those from the dark side do not bother to incarnate. They slip through the quarantine, like those who abduct beings, and they're not supposed to do that, but it is possible to slip through the quarantine.
Can I ask
but
you a
I
question?
think the light workers are born.
I got to ask you a question. Why? You know, the abductions have been going on for years and years, and cattle mutilations have been going on for years and years. If they're trying to collect something, I would think they would have gotten their answer years and years, or hundreds of years ago, or thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Why are they still abducting people?
Because they want to create fear. That's how the dark side progresses. They want to create fear, because when people are afraid, they're much easier to control. And I absolutely think that it's about fear and inducing fear. And what we have to do is hold the light. We have to realize that we have a choice to move more and more into the light, and that we have more power than we know as humans. We are divine. Humans are divine. We have a spark of divinity in us, and all of our, God isn't somewhere out there in the sky. God is in your heart and my heart and in the heart of every trucker listening. We are each of us a divine being with more power and love than we can possibly conceive of. And the wanderers who come to Earth want to awaken us to that fact. That is their mission, to tell us that we are divine and that we are loved beyond measure, and that not to be frightened by the dark side, because they want to frighten us. But when we hold enough light, they shrivel off because they can't tolerate an intensity of light. So if we don't get afraid, we're much better off. If we don't dwell on their tricks and their mutilations or whatever tricks they're up to, if we just stay in our own light and channel our own light through the top of our head, through the soles of our feet, because healing and energy just pours down like sunlight. We just have to absorb it. And
Well, I think
more strength.
I think we need help, because I'm going to go back to some figures. The FBI claims there's over 30,000 people a year that are vanishing. You know, maybe some of them could have been, homicide by serial killers. Yeah. But they kind of ruled that 30,000 out as they said these 30,000, there's just can't figure out what happened to them. There's no trace. And this has been going on year after year. And not just in our country. Australia, Germany, UK, Canada, people are missing. They're going out to the forest, the campgrounds, to the national forest, and they're disappearing. They're getting in their car, going to work. They're vanishing. And what scares me is after I had Terry Lovelace on, when he was released, him and his friend were released by the aliens out of the spacecraft. What he noticed before he was released was a bunch of people naked, holding their clothes, and hearing scream of pain and stuff, coming in within the craft. What he said is he was lucky. Now, he was returned. His friend was returned. These other people that they had on board that craft were taken somewhere, and they weren't returned, let alone there was like hybrids. And he said in James, what were they, in tubes or something?
They were in tubes, and they were hybrids, strange looking, and they had their eyes closed. And when he couldn't move nothing but his eyes. So when he'd go on his conveyor belt, standing up, walking by him, he'd look over at him with just his eyes, and the eyes of these hybrids in these tubes would open up, and it was so shocking and horrid looking that he still has nightmares of that vision.
Yeah, and he packs a gun and a flashlight next to his headboard because he claims he will not be abducted again if that means whatever he has to do. And his sleep pattern is really bad. A lot of these people that are very credible, like Timothy Collin, for example, he was the number 9th implant removal from the late Dr. Roger Greer that removed his implant. And that was sent out to the lab, and it was metal, silver, and other alloys with it that could have never been compounded on Earth. We need help. And so what you're saying, maybe what's going on, they're trying to help us in a subtle way? Is that how it is?
I think so. I think that